Hey everyone, my name is Greasy Coyote. Today I'm coming at you with a Terran versus Zerg on the map Expedition Lost. And in this Terran versus Zerg, I want to cover, which third base I think you should be taking and why I think you should be taking that third base. Now in the background, I have the map kind of playing out. Not too much going on. I'm doing a Reaper expand. He's doing a typical Zerg expansion, getting Speedlings behind it. I'm going to go into Hellion and Banshee. He's going to go into Mutiling Bane. Nothing you guys haven't seen before. I'll try and keep a little bit of the action in view just for entertainment purposes. But really, I'm just going to be going over a few key points I have for taking this as your third base and why it's the better decision. And I think that taking this as your third base is a better decision in all matchups as compared to this third base for multiple reasons. I despise this base as a whole. I have seen a couple streamers take it recently. I saw Greasy taking it as his third. I haven't seen it in Pro League because I just finally added the map to Pro League. Thankfully, I'm so tired of King Sejong Station. That has been in the pool for far too long. Get that baby out of there, replace it with Expedition Lost, and let's see some more interesting games. So back to player camera, just so you guys have something to watch. The first thing I want to talk about is the wall off. And now everybody, walls off in TVZ, or almost everybody. If you don't do it, you're pretty unique. Well, we'll put it that way. You're pretty unique. But even if it's TVP or TVT, you may not wall off, but you're still going to build a bunker, and you're going to hold that ramp and that choke point down. And the reason why you want to hold that down is because that's an access point to your base. And if we pause and take a second, we currently only have 2 access points to our base, one being the ramp and the choke point, and the other being this little backdoor rock area. Now say we take this as our third base expansion. How many entry points do we have where ground units can get in and do damage? Well, we have this one, we have this one, we have this ramp, we have this ramp, and we have this little back door over here. So that's a total of 5 entry points where units can get in and potentially do damage to some of our structures. Now if we stop and take a second and look at this expansion, then we have 1 entry point, 2 entry points, and a 3rd entry point. And this this old entry point is no longer an entry point because it's just part of the base. It's just a ramp into our 3rd. That's all it is. So not only do we have 3 entry points with this one, but we also got rid of an entry point. So that's pretty sweet. That's an all-around good defensive strategy. Just limiting the number of entry points into your base. That means you only have 3 spots to defend instead of 5, which is huge, especially when you can get pulled apart so easily by Muta and Lingman buys. So back into the game. Now that I've covered kind of like the entry points, I'm sending some Banshees across. I'm gonna try and do a little bit of damage, before he gets his mutas out. I scanned earlier and I saw that there was a layer here, so I know that my muta's on a timer. And I'm gonna, clear up some creep and try and create a distraction while these bad boys sneak in and target the extractor. Because that's what you want to target, is the extractor. Don't do that unless you have a game plan. And we're gonna jump back here so I can talk about the wall really quick one more time. I ended up building a huge wall here. I actually throw up some turrets, and I'm a Terran who actually makes siege tanks and TVZ. So I ended up having 3 turrets and a siege tank here to kind of make this choke point just absolutely impenetrable. There's no way any ground forces will end up getting through here. And I'll show you guys a quick glimpse of the finished product as it comes in a little bit later. In fact, I'll just let this play out while I talk really quick. So what happens in TVZ more often than not is when you expand, you have to lower your depots to rally units defensively to whatever expansion. Overgrowth is a pretty common map, and where you have that, it's a pocket natural, and you have to kind of wall off the entry to the natural. But then to take your third base, which is over in this general direction, you have to lower your supply depot. and that just exposes you to all sorts of run-by harass. You know, I've seen it time in and time out as Terrans expand. They start to leave their depots down. But if you expand over here, you get to leave all your depots up. I'm going to pause it one more time. So this is the finished product. I didn't plan on making this giant wall of, you know, depots and turrets and a tank, but I did, and it worked out beautifully for me, because what Zergling, you know, what attack is honestly going to penetrate? You're going to see the attack coming. You're going to have time to defend. You know, nothing's really getting by here. Even if they do have a huge army over here, unless you're just completely out of position, you know, like trying to backdoor this third or something, you're going to have so much time to react and to defend this choke point. So back to my main point, which I've lost a little bit. I'm going to try and recollaborate my thoughts for just a second here. Oh, yes, we were talking about the leaving supply depots down. So if I took this as my third, I'm going to turn this into a gate essentially, and the gate's door is going to be left open. And what's really unfortunate about that is this defensive choke point can just, you know, essentially be negated. And same thing, you know, with TVP and TVT. You usually have a turret here, but by the time you've expanded over here, you know, you pull your guys out of the turret because you actually want to start setting up defense in this area. Whereas if I just expand over here, I can leave this up. I can leave this point, you know, defended. You know, keep all the investments that I made early game, like getting a bunker. Say if I did get a bunker and I left it here, you know, I could just leave guys in the bunker and leave my back door protected at all times, because this is going to be my new front door, and this is actually going to become the back door. So not only do I have fewer entry points in taking this as my third base, but I also get to leave the money I spent on protecting this choke point utilized. And I have, you know, full coverage of my back door. At no point in the game do I have to look and say, oh crap, is he about to attack up this ramp? No, he's never going to attack up this ramp. This ramp is impenetrable. Well, it's not impenetrable, but it's pretty damn safe. So that, you know, that's just a comfort thing. I can focus on my micro, I can focus on my control, and really just not have to worry about that. And it's very, you know, it's a lot less stress on the brain. So I've almost got this third base down. Quick keynote on killing the rocks. You know, I generally will kill these rocks with my first push. My first push is a little bit later in this game because I went for an aggressive opener followed by, you know, a macro phase. But normally I'll just kill this with my my first push and then expand as I'm pushing out, and that works really well for Terran. It always has and always will. So I just keep with it and roll with the, you know, roll with the style. I'll have this command center down in just a second, and I'll be able to talk a little bit more about why I think this is the better third.
Mineral field depleted.
Okay, so things we've already covered. I'm gonna pause it one more time. Things we've already covered are entry points. We only have 3 entry points over here, and we have our back door completely secured by taking this third. So the next thing I really want to talk about is just air defense. So generally, you know, mutas are the biggest air threat to a Terran army. You know, hardly you ever see Protoss go air, unless they're doing like Phoenix Colossi or some sort of, you know, cheesy air build. Terrans, you have to worry about drops. But mutas are the biggest air threat for Terrans, I think. And so, what you want to do against mutas is you want to have, you know, essentially a line of defense, a line protecting your base. Like if we look at the mini-map and we look at my cursor really quick, generally I want to have a line of air defense that blocks entrance from any air units from this angle. And I want to do the same over here. I kind of just want to cut the entry point or cut the air entrance with turrets, so he can't just swoop in and out. And what this allows me to do is, say he comes in, and that's guaranteed damage coming in, but I can also trap him against this potentially. So if he comes in, he's not necessarily going to want to go back out the same way and take the same damage. He, you know, he might try and fly out over this way and hope that there's less turrets, which I have a nice, you know, another line to help trap units. And so I can just come in and pinch him between my turrets and my army. And now if I wanted to have air control against mutas and take this base, if we look at my cursor really quick on the mini-map, that I'd have to be able to defend this whole line here. He can't really come in from this side, but this is kind of the angling of air defense that I would need, and that's impossible. You can't cover all this space. It's not going to happen. You can cover it with your army, but you can't cover it permanently. Now with this, I have, I kind of have this line you see from my first base. I haven't really set one up over here just because I have units rallied. The only angle he can really get in without taking damage is from, let's say here to here, and I can just cover that with my army very, very easily. I can position units here or here or here, and my whole base is covered for air control. So that's another huge defensive bonus to taking this as your third instead of taking this as your third. I'll get back into the game. I'll let you guys watch this push because I know it can be more interesting to watch the game than to actually hear somebody ramble on about their ideas. So over here, he's trying to sneak his mutas in like I was talking about. Fortunately for me, though, he doesn't go too deep. He would just run into more turrets, and I have these turrets over here to protect my SCVs and keep them from getting ravaged. So in response to his muta threat, I'm just going to push out and force him to bring his mutas back home. So I'll go to my player cam really quick and watch this as it gets set up. Faster speed always feels pretty slow in observer mode, but it feels so fast in the game. So I don't see his army yet. I see a few Zerglings. There's the pocket banglings over there. I'm going to break it down really quick. I'm going to try and hold this choke point to prevent, any of these units from really diving deep into this push. So I hold the choke point, I spread my units out behind it in case he does break it down and manages to push by, that I won't just get one shot by banglings. And now I'm going to push up this base, and I'm going to hold this choke point again. And this is going to prevent any flanks from coming in from this side. And this kind of just goes to show, the weaknesses of trying to defend this base. I can just hold ground here, and look at how many lings I'm going to get. And then while I'm holding ground there and trading effectively over here, I can just continue to attack this base and attack over here. I end up getting cleaned up, but if we take a look at it, I've almost killed this base and I've cleared the mineral line. He's got 2 guys left. So I did really well in that engagement, and I think it just goes to show, another reason of why having so many entrance points into your base can be negative, because I can just hit this from any side. And quick thing, or the last thing I actually want to talk about, I'll pause it. This is the last time I'm going to pause it. Well, probably not the last time I'll pause it, but the last point I'll pause to make, and that is the rallies. And the rallies are the key to this whole defense. They are what make it beautiful. So if I have to defensively rally over here to defend this third base, then just looking at my production, like if we look on the minimap really quick and we follow my mouse back and forth, the time it's going to take for units to get from over here to over here is probably going to be, anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds. I'm not sure 100%, but that's a good quarter to a half of the map that they have to cross. Whereas if I'm rallying from here to here defensively, which you're seeing right now, that takes units. He just cleared my whole army, and already my rally points are here to defend and stop his counterattack. So that just makes defending so much easier. Whereas if I was defending over here and I had rallied points here defensively because I don't want his counterattack to hit me, he could come in here, see all my defensive rallies, and then he could just swoop back around and start picking off E-bays or reactors or tech labs, all that good stuff that Terran loves and needs, before I could he would just pick me apart at that point, because it takes so long to walk from this location to this location as compared from walking to your production to this location. So again, I just want to reiterate, rallies are what make this this expansion beautiful, because your rally point goes from very close to your production to the middle of the map. like, alright, say this is our new rally point, and we want to push out. Look how close we are to this base, how close we are to this base, or how close we are to this base. This cuts our marching time in half as compared to walking from here to over here, or from all the way back here to this third base. That the amount of ground that you have to cover just walking is insane. Like, that's just so ineffective and inefficient with your time spent using your units that it's just absurd, honestly. So if I could cut the map in half by taking this expansion, why not do it? I've already gone over why it's so, so much easier to defend, but it's also so much better for aggression, especially for Terran. You generally want to expand into your enemy as Terran, and this is the key reason why, is for your rally point. Because if you're having to rally across the map, it's so much easier for your units to just get picked off. Whereas I can just rally here and be ready to pounce on any 3 of these locations. And so you guys kind of just saw the last fight. The last thing I'm going to go over in this video is the 4th base I take, and this is more Zerg related. I'm not sure which 4th base I'd be taking in TBT or TVP. It's potentially one of these 3 bases, or one of these 4 bases. One of these locations. I haven't decided which one I like the most yet, but I have decided for Terran versus Zerg, I love this 4th base. This 4th base is amazing for a couple different reasons. A couple of ones I talked about earlier, and you'll see. Okay, so what I'm going to do here in this situation is I'm going to slam my 4th base into him after I just did a huge push onto his 3rd, and turn it into a planetary and say, I'm expanding, I'm taking my 4th, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because right now we're on even economy. Me getting a 4th is, spelling out the end of his days. Or I should say, me getting a 4th before him. So he comes in from the side, he's getting ready for some muter harass, but again, I have good air defense at these points. So he's going to push in here, and then I'm going to swoop around and actually try and trap him. Because that's what you want to do. That's the best way to get rid of mutas. And usually they're still going to get out okay without too many scratches, but I take a few down, and I weaken even more, so he can't come back anytime soon. He has to go regen, and he sees this 4th base. He sees I'm taking it, and so now he has to react. I'm forcing him to react, and the fact that he has to attack into this, and it's like, even look, he's getting frustrated. Lag is so gay. Well, lag isn't the reason why I took this 4th base, buddy. But the fact that he has to attack into this very defendable location is just more benefit for me. So he's actually getting ready. You can see his army over here. I want to go over a quick synopsis of this location as a fight location. So he's gonna run in from this side and this side, and try and swarm me as best as he can. But essentially, as Zerg, you want to hit people from 3 angles. Sometimes 2 is enough. In lower numbers, 2 might be enough. But in a big, late game engagement, you want to be hitting Terran in at least 3 different locations, or 3 different angles. So he's going to come in from this side and this side. But to actually get a flank off and come down from this side, he would have to take all the time to run his units all the way around. Look at all this space he has to cover. So this is a very good dividing point right here. A great defensive ramp to hold. Because alright, so let's say this was his 3rd, and he's going to come in from this side, and I have my 4th up over here. He's going to attack down this ramp. He has to cover the same ground to come back down and flank me from this side. So abusing this area right here, I can pretty much prevent multiple flanks arriving at my army. So here comes the battle, and you'll get to see exactly what I'm talking about. He just comes essentially head on. I'm able to funnel him pretty well. I don't even split my units right here. Oh, I finally moved some units, but it wasn't even a split. I just moved my units backwards. But I'm still able to, take this fight, because he's attacking into a planetary. He's attacking off creep. And my rally points, look at all these Marines I just built. They're already rallied to the battle. I just love this fourth. I love the way it plays out, especially against Zerg in this map. Um, so you're going to just see me keep building up defense. I know that I have the fourth base on him. He actually took two, but I know they're not mining. I don't actually even know or realize he has this one up, but he has to essentially abandon this base because let's look at it. Look how close these two base locations are. Like a death march, oh my gosh, it's going to just obliterate him at this point. So he does a smart thing. He tries to take, this is the one I was assuming he would take anyways, but he tries to take this as his next base. And I'm just going to push in and kill him at this point because, everything's, I'm definitely not the best player. This is only platinum, but the decisions I made in this game have been pretty spot on. And they really allowed me to get this advantage that I have to push and end the game. A quick note, I'll pause it one last time. I told you guys I wasn't going to pause the game. Well, I lied. A quick note, I made supply depots. I actually should have made this one up here, but I just want a vision of these two ramps. These two ramps being the only access points for this whole side of the map. I just wanted to know, by this late in the game, a serious army could actually break this back door location. So I just wanted to have vision to know if he's ever posturing up for an attack on this part of my base. And we will get into the final battle. You'll actually see my best splits of the game at a point where it hardly mattered. And at this point, it's essentially just lings and mutas, and I'm just gonna walk in there, I'm gonna stem, and I'm gonna clean up. Yeah, Terran, so good. Okay, so that's the game, guys. Obviously, I only won because he was lagging. My decisions were garbage, and that's the only reason. But I just want to go back over it and reiterate it really quick. The 4 key points. So the first thing was the wall off. I get to use this wall off all game. Utilize all the money I put into this wall and use it all game. So that's great for me. I don't ever have to worry about run buys. The next thing are entry points. I have 1, 2, 3 entry points here as compared to having 5 entry points if I took that as my third. And air defense, we talked about the lines of turrets, because that's the best way. You want to trap the mutas. Let's see, the last thing was rally point. Really the key, the thing that brings this all together is just the capability of your rallying point. With a rally point in the middle of the map, you can pretty much go anywhere you want on the map and feel comfortable, which is really nice as Terran. So I know when your rally point's over here and you want to push all the way over here, it can get pretty uncomfortable because you're like, well, this is a lot of ground. That's a lot of area for me to retreat back to. That's a lot of area I have to cover my retreat. I'll probably get picked off by the time I finally make it back. So being able to retreat from here to here, it's very nice. It makes you a lot more comfortable with your pushes and your attacks. Quick thing, I wanted to secure this. I knew that I had a lead in the game, so I just wanted to make this fourth that I threw in his face as structurally sound and attack proof as possible. So I even left my Thor here at the end, just because I knew the only thing that would snipe this would be a large ball of mutas. So 5 turrets and a Thor, and I knew this base wasn't going anywhere. I think that's about everything. Guys, this is my first video. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier. I might have, but in case I didn't, this is my first video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I finally think I got a take. I've done like 20 different takes on it, and I think I finally got one that I like. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment, tell me what you guys thought. Tell me if you hated it. Tell me if you loved it. I don't care. Just let me know. Some outside opinions would be great. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Greasy Coyote, and this was fun. I'll see you guys later.